listen, I made my bones when you were in fucking diapers.
Well, now you're wearing diapers.
Boom.
Sylvester Stallone's Paramount Plus crime series Tulsa King finds him playing Dwight Manfredi, a mob enforcer for a New York Mafia family. Released after 25 years in prison, Dwight is exiled to Tulsa to expand the family's operations there. Today at ScreenRant, we look at how true this story is to actual Mafia history. Tulsa King isn't based on a true story. To put it simply, Tulsa King is a show with fictional characters. But its protagonist's situation seems to be inspired by real life. Exile or banishment from crime families has been common among many families of the original Mafia in Sicily. In Tulsa King, Dwight's banishment seems to be particularly inspired by the case of the Inzerillo crime family. For the longest time, the Inzerillos mostly controlled the Palermo region of Italy, but this changed in the 1980s. This was around when the Gambino family controlled the criminal underworld in New York. The Gambinos were allies of the Inzerillos and served as the main inspiration behind Martin Scorsese's gangster classic Goodfellas. Meanwhile, in Palermo and other parts of Italy, the ruthless mobster Salvatore Riina was gaining power. Known for brutally executing his enemies, he took over Sicilian Mafia to drive away the Inzerillos from Palermo. He was willing to spare the Inzerillos from death only if they left Italy and never set foot again. So, the Inzerillo crime family migrated from Italy to New York, living under the radar with protection from the Gambinos. Much like how the Inzerillos were exiled to New York, Tulsa King's Dwight is asked to move out west to expand the Invernizzi family's operations. Dwight's base was in New York until he went to prison for 25 years. Dwight believed that, as he hadn't snitched against anyone, he should have been rewarded for his silence in New York, but by the time Dwight is out of prison, the family's underboss Chicky plans on climbing up the ladder as the boss. Looking at Dwight as a potential threat to his power, Chicky Invernizzi exiles Dwight to Oklahoma. The only difference between Dwight and the real-life Inzerillo family is that Dwight has more freedom to bend the rules. As a rule, the Inzerillos didn't dare to set foot on Sicilian soil as long as Salvatore Riina was in power. Later, in the 2000s, some of them did return to Italy, but the family didn't have the same power as before. In contrast, Dwight sometimes ignores his banishment and frequently visits New York. Even in Oklahoma, he's not that under the radar and expanding his own power. This is mainly because a mob boss like Chicky hasn't grown to the dreaded levels of a gangster like Salvatore Riina yet. So, while Tulsa King isn't directly based on a real story, it does share narrative similarities with real-life mafia politics. Only this time, instead of an entire mob family like the Inzerillos, only one powerful enforcer got exiled. With the series expanding its storyline and including new local gangsters, future seasons of Tulsa King might draw on more real-life crime stories.